About the DHS actions in downtown Minneapolis today. I mean, we had a guy who, to me, in the research that we've done, certainly it seems like a pretty normal guy. A nurse at an ICU, an active guy, and seemingly a pretty normal guy. I mean, actually, the guy has a record that's not unsimilar to me. He has some very minor offenses, traffic offenses, and some really minor things, but nothing major and violent on his record, okay? And the guy has a permit for the firearm that he was carrying. Now, it's unclear to me in the video whether or not whether he was carrying the firearm exposed or whether he was carrying it concealed. I've been told he was carrying the firearm legally, and I believe that the press conferences where DHS and the defense and Secretary Noem claim that he was carrying a firearm. Now, that is true, but many of the things that I've heard claimed by Secretary Noem in the defense of the DHS's actions in this case are actually just a lie. I mean, and I'll show you why. In a minute here, we're gonna cue up the footage from Fox 9 of this incident. And it clearly shows how the DHS reacts to this. Now, in Secretary Noem's statement, she claims that the suspect in this case, Preddy, was not really acting in protection of another citizen, which he was doing, but that he violently reacted to being to their attempts to disarm him. Now, what I saw was not that, and what you will see on this footage, live footage from someone's phone, shows just that. It was not him reacting violently, and he never brandished the firearm. You will also see that. I'll show you where the DHS agents detain him, and he's in a submissive position on his knees with his arms behind his back and his head down. They take the firearm from him, set it on the ground, and then shoot him. Now, you tell me how that's a defensive shooting. That's what Secretary Noem describes it as a defensive shooting. Now, that is truly and clearly a lie, and you'll see it in the footage that I'm about to show you. Now, we're gonna cut, and we're just gonna film the footage here of this incident, and I'm going to commentate. So just aim the camera here at the footage, and we'll go ahead and play it, and I'm gonna commentate on it. And now here you see the lady is pushed to the ground, and here's Preddy here, okay? The ICE agents come in and grab him. He's detained by an ICE agent right here, thrown to the ground. All right, he's back up. Now, he's on his knees here. One of them grabs behind his back, and an ICE agent comes around, this one here that I'm pointing at, puts the gun on the ground. It's right there. The gun is down on the ground by this ICE agent's knees, okay? Then they shoot. You hear that right there, okay? Now, the gun, when they made those shots, the gun was on the ground. And you can hear the crowd reacting. What the did you just do? What did you just do? Obviously, the crowd is absolutely stunned by this action, and rightfully so. I mean, you can see clearly in the footage, if you watch it yourself, and it's Fox 9's footage, you can pull it up. Watch that angle. You can clearly see the ICE agent come around, grab the firearm from his waist while he's being detained by two other agents of the DHS and held to the ground in a submissive position. They've got him right there, and they disarmed him. Why they fire beyond that and why it's described as a defensive shooting by the Secretary Noem, I don't understand. That is clearly not true, clearly propaganda, and bullshit, quite frankly. I mean, it's a straight out lie by Secretary Noem. Now, I don't understand how that happens and why we're accepting it as a culture, as a people, as a nation, and quite frankly, it's appalling to me. Now, how can she stand there in front of the nation and describe what I'm clearly seeing here, and I just showed you, is not a defensive shooting in any way, shape, or form? They had him detained, they had him in a submissive position, they clearly had the advantage over him, they were standing on him with his arms pulled up behind his back and his knees on the ground. He can't do anything. They take the gun from his waist, put it on the ground next to an ICE agent's knee, and then the shooting commences. How is that defensive? The only person in a defensive position there is Preddy, because he's submitted. They have him. They take his gun, and then they shoot him. Execution style, right in front of the lady that he was trying to protect, and in front of everybody else on the street. There's witnesses to this. And I hope they're not quieted by our federal government and by these actions. This is ridiculous.